it's Valerie Holdren with Soap Underground. It's late, it's after 8 on Sunday evening, and I'm restocking one of my many soaps that I have to restock. I had my soap open house, my customer appreciation winter open house last Saturday, and I sold out of 14 different scents. Some I will repeat, some I won't. Some I was glad that finally sold, and others I was like, wow, I haven't had those long. But anyway, tonight I am going to restock the one that I made in my granddaughter's memory. It's called Amazing Gracie. Amazing Gracie. Her name was Grace. We called her Gracie. And she was full of grace, and she was amazing. And I'm sorry. I'm just going to skip to the ingredients. And tonight I've decided to use Crisco, lard, cocoa butter, coconut oil, apricot kernel oil, which is one of my favorites, olive oil, and castor oil. And the numbers are really nice. They are 38 hardness, 11 cleansing. The creamy, I think, was around 37, 36. Bubbly was 21. So I'm very pleased with the numbers. In fact, I went through all of my recipes a few nights ago, and I kind of eliminated probably 25 because I love to try new formulas, so I'm always playing around on soap calc, and what I didn't have exclamation marks and love it and will use again written by went in the trash. So this is one of the new ones, and I have my crock pot on low, and my oils, my lye is almost ready to mix. I don't like there to be a huge variance between the oil and lye temperature. So this one, these that are about 165, 170, and this was at around 198 when I checked it. So I'm going to let it cool down at least another 5 degrees, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, we are ready to start. Both my oils and lyes right now are around 177, so we're going to go ahead and combine the two. I have my kaolin clay and colloidal oatmeal, so I'm going to go ahead and mix that up before I combine my lye solution. Probably should have used a smaller crock pot, but I didn't. And in here I had mulberry silk. It's dissolved really nicely, as you can see. And after this comes to Vaseline, reaches Vaseline, I'm going to be adding a combination of jasmine rice milk and coconut oil. I'm going to add some actually while it's cooking. I need to go over there and get it. I'm pouring it down the shaft of the stick blender to help the splashing and keep down air bubbles. Give that a little stir. And I apologize for my scatterbrained. I'll be right back. And I'm just going to mix about half of my jasmine rice milk and coconut milk, and then put the other back on the stove to keep it warm. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to bring this to a medium to thick trace. One of my granddaughters is in the other room. She may come in a minute. My crock pot is still on warm. And I've reached a thin trace. And I could leave it at that, but I like to go thicker. About a medium. I think that's good. And after the cook, I'm going to be adding several goodies. I'm going to be adding honey and sugar, and as I said, rice milk, coconut milk, and I'm super fatting 5% up front and 3% after the cook, because my cleansing number's low and my conditioning number is high. And I'm using Apricot Kernel, which is just really, really a favorite of mine. And I'm going to be coloring with Gracie's favorite colors, purple and pink. And I'm going to use some white satin from Steph's Micas mixed with stellar white, because that kind of creates a glittery effect. And Gracie was a dazzler. You just never knew how much a little 6-year-old could bless so many people and touch so many people. So I think she deserves some glitz and glamour. So I'm changing it up a little bit and doing the, hopefully it'll be shimmery for her. And around Christmas time, she deserves to shimmer and shine. And what else can I tell you about this soap? As I said, in my warm oils, I had kale and clay and some colloidal oatmeal, and mulberry silk and the lye, and yogurt as usual. So I'm going to cover this up, and then we'll come back when it starts to either fold over or volcano, whichever it decides to do.
So
Well, you'll hear my granddaughter in the background talking on the phone, and you can see that my soap is getting ready to fold over, and I'm just going to let it. I don't feel the urgency to stop it from doing anything, because I've got a big enough crock pot. So I'm going to let it do a little more, and then I'm going to go ahead and stir it down. She came down to say goodnight, and then my mom called to say goodnight, and she's talking to her in the background. She's 8. Her name is Hope. And
she never stepped on it. I saw it.
Come on over.
Yep. She just went home. Like,
well, I guess not.
30 minutes.
I'm going to go ahead and turn off my crock pot, because it's hot enough.
I really want, we could have watched Netflix together.
I'm at 2:11.
So much fun. And my grandpa needed his phone
Scrape
back.
down my
He
sides.
thought Vincent was going to go. Not all of it. Not all of it, but that was only like 20 minutes.
I don't think I'll get this cut tonight by the time I get it in the mold and in the freezer, and it'll be late, and I was up late last night. So it will be tomorrow before I cut it. And I think I told you I'm going to, the colors. And I'm scenting with raspberry lemonade. That had become her new favorite drink when we would go out to eat. That's what she wanted. So I'm using raspberry lemonade from Nature's Garden. Starting to separate a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to have to stick blend again. So I'm looking maybe another 6 to 8 minutes before this will be at Vaseline. But I'm gonna cover it back up.
After Nana's finished with Crisco.
Oh, and I meant to tell you too, instead of 38%, I did water at 38%.
She was down at the house. She was. Grandpa was
Okay,
too.
we'll be back.
We all was down at the house.
Okay, it started coming up on me again. So I'm just gonna stir it back down. And as I said, it's off.
Okay. See what temperature it is. It's hot, isn't it?
Yep, it's pretty hot.
If it's 900, what?
Like I said, it's separating on me a good bit, so if it keeps on, I may stick blend it again, but I think this is going to go on and pull itself back together if I keep stirring it along every once in a while. So we're about 6 minutes into the cook, 6 to 7. And I don't anticipate it. It's already getting that really glossy look. So I don't think it's going to take much longer. Okay, I'm at 213. And I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the cooking unit as soon as I stop making messes. I should have seen that one coming. Top certainly doesn't need to be coated. Okay. Excuse me while I reach in front of you. Get this out of the way. You back in view. Just keep giving it a good stir because it's just at that stage where it's gonna transition over. I think you can probably see how glossy that is. I'm hoping this is going to be, doesn't really have to be fluid because what I'm planning to do, I mean I want it to be workable of course, but I'm planning to do an in the pot swirl, and then it seems like I have better luck, if you want to call it that, with chopstick swirls than I do hangers. So I'm planning to do a chopstick swirl after I get it in the mold. Yep. And we have reached Vaseline. So I'm gonna take a little bit out, even though I'm sure it's ready. I don't want to, better safe than sorry, so I'm gonna take some out and zap test it before I go any further. Give it a little spritz with my hot water. Keep it from getting crusty on top and sticking to the sides. It's a very fine mist. And go and get my additives and we'll get started again. Okay, it was completely neutral. I've added my Superfatted of Apricot Kernel Oil. And I'm going to add in my plain yogurt. And this is 3 tablespoons. It's 1 tablespoon per pound of soap. So this is my 3 tablespoons. And I always stir it in really well because I learned by experience, if you don't, you get little cooked pieces of yogurt floating through your soap, and it is not pretty, and you cannot undo it. But you can see that that's loosened it up quite a bit just by adding that. And I may have to switch to a larger spatula. I love these little spatulas from Steph's Micas. And she has a nice larger one too that I may be using soon. And then this is my coconut milk and rice milk that I deducted at the beginning of the cook and saved it for now. If you remember, I added 2 ounces of it while I was stick blending, bringing it to trace so it could go through the cook. And then saving some for after the cook is also a great way to help with fluidity. And as the yogurt, make sure to stir in your milk good too, because this crock pot is really hot and it will stick to the bottom or the sides and it will cook. So I add it slowly. I love rice milk and coconut milk. I'm not a big fan of goat milk. Some people love it. I wish I did. I just didn't have very good luck with it a couple of years ago. And I just haven't tried it since. And I'm going to take the temperature of the soap because I don't want to add my honey until it's down to at least 170. And it says I'm at 166, so I'm going to go ahead and add it. And I have my honey, sugar, and 3 tablespoons of, let's see, I have 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of honey, and 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and 3 teaspoons of sodium lactate, all in this container. It was kept warm on the stove. And they're all wonderful for the skin and lather. Helps make it more fluid. The sodium lactate will help me be able to unmold it sooner. It just amazes me how things have their own purpose and their own benefit to skin, and some are the same, some just, and you can see how nice and workable that is. So I'm going to spray down my sides because So I'm going to let that sit for a couple of minutes while I mix up my colors. I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me mix my colors together. And I'll bring you back. Okay. I have my colors mixed up. My fragrance is added. I'm getting ready to do my in the pot swirl. And I decided to keep it in my crock pot just because it's warmer. So I'm going to do a pie. I'm going to save some for the top. And then my lavender. It's either lavender or lilac. I can't remember which. And again, I'm going to save some from the top. I'm going to go around. That's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to pour it into this mold, and you won't be able to see it very well, and I apologize. Maybe you will. I always save enough for me to have a sample of my soaps. Pretty colors. Gracie would love these. She was a girly girl, that's for sure. So I'm going to save the rest to scrape out. This down. And then take my chopstick. Table's uneven. And I'm going to use the fat end. And just give it some . I may do some coming back. And that's all I'm going to do. Except I am going to use what I had left on the top. Same thing with my pink. I'm not overly great with tops, but do something. As long as the soap's good for your skin, that's what counts. Find my water bottle. Give it a spritz. Oops, I just took you for a ride. I apologize. And I'm going to take the smaller chopstick and just kind of do something on the top. like a little texture. Okay, amazing Gracie, ready to go to bed. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Hi, well, I didn't think I would be back tonight, but I came back downstairs and checked on my soap, and it popped right out of the mold, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it. These bars are not the shape of my other ones. It's a different mold, so they're not as tall as the others were, so I'm going to cut them into chunkier bars than normal. I also caught a couple of mistakes that I said when I was making the soap. I didn't soap at 38% water, it was 35, and I did not use coconut oil with my jasmine rice milk. I used rice milk and coconut milk, not coconut oil. So I get a little tongue-tied sometimes, afraid I'm gonna say something wrong, and I did. So anyway, let's go ahead and cut Gracie's amazing Gracie. I wish these were taller. Try to make them a little bit chunkier. Kind of pretty. That side's really pretty. I won't use this mold again, I don't think. Still a nice bar of soap, just not a real great shape for me. I see the glitter in there. Very pretty colors. That one's kind of pretty. Oh my. If you look, you can see the picture of a little girl. That's my Gracie. This bar is mine. Oh, that one's mine. It's amazing what you can see when you cut soap. I think she'd be happy. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your night. I'm gonna finish these and call it a day. See you next time.